So I know a few years ago they compared the weather here to being actually colder than Mars. So the minus 40 I could do without.
I don't like, feels like minus 50 weather.
I don't like scraping off the car and all that kind of thing.
We are coming from Hong Kong and it is too cold.
Too cold.
It is too cold. It is brutal.
My partner's from Vancouver and when he first moved here, thought he was gonna die. That's a terrible feeling as well. Like being outside in the freezing cold, doing something, moving around, sort of erases all the negative aspects of being at minus 30 or at minus 25.
When I talk about winter climate change, often what I'll hear is, oh, I wouldn't mind if it was a few degrees warmer. I don't really like the minus 40. I wouldn't mind if the snow melted earlier. But when I start talking to them about the things that they enjoy about winter, it's like skating on the river, cross-country skiing, snowmobiling, economic activities like the tourism opportunities that happen during the winter. As Canadians, winter forms a really important part of our identity.
Skating is really one of those iconic activities that people associate with being Canadian or being in Canada. And like the minute that it starts getting a little bit cooler, people start asking, oh, when's the River Trail open? And it's really turned into a celebration of winter culture here.
This is my first time to skating on the river. It feels like, wow, more freedom here rather than in the stadium. Yeah.
We've been really active people, so yeah, we try to go out and skate and do tobogganing. Is that right? Did I say it right? Okay. We came straight from the Middle East, and the temperature out there would go up to as high as 50, positive 50. And then we decided to come here, which is minus 40 or 50. Winter is not so bad after all. We didn't think that, we would actually survive it.
Winter is different in different parts of the world, but for most of us living in Canada, winters are getting shorter, they're getting warmer, and they're getting less snowy. Cold winters are really important for the ecosystems that we live in, and as winters change, as temperatures rise, those fundamental things about what makes winter winter are changing.
To think about life without winter, I mean, it's just been part of our life, like since I was born, like winter sports, winter whatever, it's part of life. And to think about not having that and what all the implications would be for people, animals, like all of it is just kind of sad.
I still need some winter. I love it here, so I'm from here.
So what are the things that you love about winter?
I love skiing. I love being outside. I love the fact that there's no bugs. He makes us tough. I love being a tough Canadian.
Researchers have coined this term solastalgia, which is the loss of the memory of the climate that used to exist. And so there's something sort of profound that as winters change, winters forming such an important part of our identity, outside of the tangible activities that we're losing, it's going to change how we think about ourselves.
As the climate starts changing, as a local amenity, it's going to be very missed. On a nice weekend day, we'll have 20,000 people down on the river skating. The Forks, our whole operations, we put it through our lens of sustainability, and we really try to add the perspective of 7 generations in the future. So now climate change is factoring into these decisions about how we're renewing our infrastructure on the site. What we've found in our research, a lot of times by picking the choice that's seen as more sustainable, makes a lot of sense financially.
It gives me hope to think that most of the climate change has been caused by human activities, and so that gives us the power to change what we do. The changes that need to happen in order to protect winters are things that need to happen across communities and across societies. So I think being engaged in your community, talking to decision makers and policy makers about the types of futures you want to see, voting in a way that puts people into power who are going to make decisions that prioritize the climate, make choices, mitigate the emissions of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, and decrease the amount of climate change that we'll see in the future. That is something that's really, really powerful to me, that we have the ability to make that change.